Tune in, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Hey kids, welcome to another fun episode of New England Pride TV. I'm your host, Dale LePage. You'll notice I'm sitting at the desk alone today. That's because my co-host Tina has the day off because it's her birthday. It's her birthday, baby. Happy birthday, Tina. You deserve a day off. You deserve a month off. That's what you're so good to us. We're going to jump right into this episode with Pride Pets. Welcome to Stirrup Fun Stables Rescue. Stirrup Fun Rescue Incorporated is a nonprofit facility in Lebanon, Connecticut. Their mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, nurture horses in need, and find loving, forever homes when appropriate. They rescue neglected, abandoned, abused, and malnourished horses who need a second chance. Every horse they rescue receives medical attention to address all immediate physical needs and ongoing veterinary and farrier care. Thereafter, it is their mission to foster the relationship between equine and human interaction as a healing force. Currently, the rescue is running very low on their supply to feed their horses for hay. Donations are needed and would be much appreciated. Contact Stirrup Fun Stables Rescue to get more information and to donate at 179 Mack Road, Lebanon, Connecticut, 06249. You can reach them by telephone at 860-468-0156. And we'll be back with New England Pride TV right after this.
New England Pride TV is presented by Fallon Health and sponsored by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Doframe, Boston Wedding Photographer, Paul Chase and Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, The Queen's Cups, Escape Games Worcester, Art Reach, Electric Haze, Bull Mansion, Ellie's Pet Barn, Handmead Taekwondo Center, and Herd Strategy and Storytelling.
Hey kids, welcome back to New England Pride TV. I'm your host, Dale LePage, and I am joined right now by
Joe Sandagato.
I've known Joe for a few years. You have been so informative on LGBTQ adoption.
Right.
And I wanted to bring you on here because we've got a lot of things to talk about that are happening right now, correct?
Sure, a lot of.
Where do you want to start?
So let's start by first saying that here in Massachusetts, someone recently said to me, you do a lot of advocacy work, and a lot of what you're trying to do is dispel the myths, with regard to the media that people are reading about what's going on around the country and how LGBTQ families are engaging in the adoption process. Yep. And somebody said to me, Joe, here in Massachusetts, we're in a bubble within a bubble. And
I have to say I agree with that.
And I do too. And 20 years ago, I started this process. And even as long ago as the 1990s, my husband and I were able to both adopt our children. And so that was a bit of a win in a very silent piece behind the scenes. And of course, with marriage equality and everything that's happened since, we've created a really receptive environment here in Massachusetts. So it's interesting. Recently, the federal government's Health and Human Services Department allowed for an exemption in South Carolina where agencies could, sort of discriminate based upon religious beliefs. Right. And so almost immediately, as a director of communications and public relations for the Massachusetts Adoption Resource Exchange, I started getting questions. Okay. Can we adopt in Massachusetts? How does this affect us? Of course, it's, that affects that state. But I'm also mindful, even though we're in a bubble within a bubble, there's a lot of advocacy work that we're still doing. There's a lot that we still need to be able to do in order to make sure that we can continue to enjoy the same level of engagement with the adoption and foster care process that we always have.
I did read where the adoption agencies were going to be able to discriminate. I'm going to say discriminate. And in your field, in your position, what was your immediate reaction to that?
So there's a large body of work that goes on. I sit on a number of committees here in the state. We have a statewide LGBTQ committee with the Department of Children and Families. There's a number of forward-facing national efforts in place. And so, of course, our first thing was to take a breath.
Yeah.
Big gasp.
Yeah.
I come from a place where I was doing grassroots advocacy long before, you know, a lot of this forward-facing work was even going on.
You've always been like that.
Go back to the 80s and 90s, you know, it was originally some of the workplace issues and, you know, being able to be out in public and then marriage. And so by the early 2000s, as we got toward marriage equality, it was like you took a breath.
Yes. Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we're tightening up
Yes.
again. And a lot of families are confused by what's going on. They feel like it's impactful to them, even though it might not be immediately impactful here in the States. So there's a lot going on. But I'll tell you, if I may, just jump into adopting here in Massachusetts. Massachusetts Adoption Resource Exchange, the Department of Children and Families, all very receptive. We go as far as saying single, married, partnered, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, you know, genderqueer. There is no limitation in that capacity. This process is all about making sure that parents have strengths that support children's needs.
Right.
And we feel like the diversity in so many ways beyond just LGBTQ diversity helps provide strengths, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it's a really interesting time. You know, I'm glad to be working in this arena and being able to, you know, being able to point people in the right direction and to keep building LGBTQ families. It's so important. And to work for an organization. We just received our HRC seal again, so we've had it continuously, but we just got our new one. So last year we did that. Our staff is well trained and adept. You know, so I think it's a different time, a different place, lots of opportunity. My hope is that if people have questions, that they reach out and ask those questions. We don't think that foster care and adoption is the only way to build a family. Of course, there's surrogacy and domestic and international adoptions, lots of different ways that people can do it. And so I think that's important. The other thing is community. So one thing that happened, you know, I talked about 06 and things slowing down, and families that I was working with, my own included, I have 7 children adopted from foster care.
Great Christmas cards.
Big Christmas cards, 8x10s, glossies. But what was happening, Dale, that was interesting is that we were so mainstreamed at that point in time that many families said to me, you know, Joe, I don't really need a group to get together anymore. My neighbors, our friends at school, we're accepted.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after that, and some of the work that I did as the president of the Worcester West Area Advisory Board for DCF brought me into contact with people here in our local community in Worcester, and they started saying, you know, we kind of miss having a community. Oh, and by the way, our kids aren't seeing other families like ours. It's great that they were accepted. That's what we fought for.
So did you start it back up again?
So, well, I actually, you know what I did? I started an online group called Caring Families Together, or CFT Fathers Forum.
Which is that different than the Cape Cod?
Cape Cod is sort of a takeoff on that. It's a more regionalized piece. We have
so
a
we'll
Cape Cod
that
group as well. But we brought people together online and in-person meetups.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's worked out fantastically. So we've got an ongoing online resource available through our Facebook group. And then we have family get-togethers. We've had huge events, 60, 70, 80 people together. Tugas Farms, right, for an annual apple picking.
There,
kids get to hang out and make friends that way. We have we started a Ladies Who Lunch series for parents who are at home during the day. It was a fun little spoof that just caught on that people loved. But this idea of having community is becoming so critical and so important these days. You know, I think we were so excited to be mainstreamed, and then we went, wait a minute, you know, where is our community? So, and so Cape Cod. So
I think I got alerted on Facebook, or maybe you or somebody asked me to like the page, and so I mean, I always, anything that's LGBTQ, I'm like all over it, because I'm like, if there's something new, I want to have them on the show, I want to talk about it. And I think I reached out to you from there. I think I did.
Probably.
Yeah. And I don't think I knew it was you.
Probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
And I'm like, oh my God, Joe. But one of the things that I loved about it was you set up a forum for people to discuss situations and look for opinions on results. Right,
and that one not specific to parenting. What's interesting is I've lived in Central Mass my whole life. We've had a place on Cape Cod, and we've flipped our living arrangements lately. We're on Cape Cod more.
Oh, okay.
And so I would have told you until we moved, this entire state is incredibly rich with LGBTQ support and with groups and with prides. And, and of course, what was my reference point for the Cape? Provincetown.
Provincetown.
Right?
Yeah.
So here I am on Mid-Cape.
Yep.
saying, where is everybody?
Really?
What's going on?
Okay.
So there are a couple of meetup groups. My husband and I just joined a gay men's bowling league.
Okay.
Right? So we found some activity. So different, though, than what I experienced with my Boston connections, my Central Mass connections,
Right,
my
that's
Western
very
Mass connections.
interesting.
So it was my foray into trying to just create another way for people to connect.
Yeah.
And incidentally, it's pulling people from across the state into the dialogue. And Cape Cod's that part-time area that people go to once in a while, right? And they know it, but they don't really know it.
Yeah.
But for the people who live there year-round, I thought it would be nice to find new ways to connect and to form community.
Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of this interview, but I want you to get out there email addresses, websites, anything that you think might help our viewers.
So for anyone in your audience who's looking to find out more about adoption from foster care, you'll find us at mareinc, that's mareinc.org, or give us a call at 617-964-6273. Thank you so much.
An absolute pleasure, as
Pleasure
always.
seeing you, as always.
We'll be right back with more after this.
Hello, Dale. Hello, everyone. It's me, Miss Lady Sabrina, and we're back with another letter. This one I find a little interesting. Dear Miss Lady Sabrina, I would love your advice on this, please. A girl I work with and like is getting married, and she is unaware that her fiancé is gay or bisexual. Everyone in the office knows, and everyone is afraid to mention anything to her. She is blindly unaware. Should we say anything? P.S. We know for a fact that he has been with men even during their engagement. Okay, well, there's a couple of things. Now, when you say that she's blindly unaware, see, we don't know all of the facts. Like, we don't know if they've had conversations and she's aware of it and is just overlooking it. I think even though you like her, and even though everyone is aware, I think it's better to err on the side of caution. You're kind of going by what she's sharing with you, which may be a very watered down version. There may be a private conversation that they've had, where this has been shared. I think no matter which way you go with this, if you decide to mention it, you are going to be the person that, there will be distance from, because if she's unaware of it or there are obvious signs and it's so apparent to everyone in the office, then maybe there are signs that she's just not looking at that are present. And it is her right to do so. I know that you want best for her and you want to be able to, save her. So I would advise you, even though, you want to, again, save her, I think it's very important for you and everyone else who's not in their bed, to kind of stay in your own lane, and I'm not saying that to be flip or rude. I'm just saying that unless you have all the information, you're not really able to advise her. And especially if there's something that she sees that she doesn't want to see, that's also something that, she's entitled to. I think if you're her friend, just stay present, listen to her. Don't speak your opinion. Let her figure it out for herself. And just be her friend. Be her friend. Be her sounding board. Be the person who listens and helps her just kind of figure it out on her own. I know sometimes being the sideline person is difficult, but you have to maintain your friendship, and to maintain your friendship also means to respect her decisions and try not to give unasked advice. It's very important, and they will figure it out, and you will be there to help her in the meantime. All right, I hope this finds you well. I love you all, and I will see you next month with another letter. Love and light, Lady Sabrina.
Hey kids, welcome back to New England Pride TV. I'm your host, Dale LePage, and now I am joined by...
Quiana Langley-Carr.
Brianna Brewer.
And I have the great fortune of knowing these lovely ladies already. I think I met you at a Pride event, perhaps a Pride event or a Pride pageant.
Yes.
But we're not here to talk about Pride pageants today.
No.
We're actually here to talk about Pathways for Change.
Yes.
Which I am very excited about because I'm one of those people who are unaware, but I want to be informed. So, what is its mission? Where is it located? What do you do? All that stuff. Go.
Sure. So Pathways for Change, we're a local rape crisis center. We cover 47 cities and towns, and all of our services are absolutely free. And not only are our services for survivors of sexual assault, but also what we call significant others. So anybody in a survivor's life, whether it's a friend, a family, partner, anything like that.
Teacher.
Yes, they can certainly get free services with us as well and learn how to best support the survivor in their life and how to also get some supports for themselves.
Now, what kind of support do you offer? I mean, obviously, I'm very open about this. At age 10, I was a victim of rape by a trusted family member. There wasn't any place to go, anything to do. Later, through years and years of good therapy, I'm clear, right, in my own mind. But do you offer the counseling, the medical attention? What kind of things do
We
you
offer a multitude of different services, whether it be counseling one-on-one, counseling for the close people to the survivors. We'll even do medical advocacy, where if you're getting a kit done, we'll go to the hospital and meet you there.
You're kidding me. Oh my
Nope,
God,
I
that's
am
so
not.
nice.
We will literally sit with you from the time that the kit starts to the time that it's over, and you say that you are comfortable.
Oh my God, I'm
We
gonna
also-
cry.
Yeah, and we also offer legal advocacy as well, so we can be there through every step of the process, whether it's through a court process or filing a restraining order or even filing a report with the police. Anything like that, anything that needs legal attention, we can certainly help and be there every step of the way and provide tons of resources and referrals to make sure that the survivor is getting the absolute most support in every aspect of their healing process.
But wait, there is more. We'll even go to schools and do education for healthy boundaries and things like that, as well as like meeting up with different agencies to do training so that their employees can be more aware of like how to assist survivors that they come to interact with as well.
That's so important. Now, who do you physically go out and do the speaking engagements? The two of you?
Yes, we do. We go around and we also have an outreach and
The
education
dynamic
department.
duo?
The dynamic duo, yes, we get that a lot. But we also have a wonderful outreach and education department that does work closely with schools and does training and prevention training for organizations as well that are interested in learning how to best support survivors that could possibly disclose in a workplace setting or in a school setting as well.
Shouts out to our entire team.
I was going to say, now, how many people on this? Well, first of all, where are you? You're all of New England or Central Massachusetts, or?
So we cover central Massachusetts, and that's 47 cities and towns.
Okay.
And our main office is located right in the heart of Worcester, right in downtown.
Okay.
Right across from the federal courthouse. So we're at 588 Main Street.
Okay.
But we also have satellite offices, so we can reach those survivors that are maybe more in the rural
In
areas.
these different cities.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a few satellite offices as well, so
Okay.
we can make sure that all survivors are getting their needs met.
Now, I'm very curious. How did you hold that thought?
Okay.
I hate to interrupt. How did you get involved?
How did I get involved?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, I had worked for a corporation prior to joining Pathways for Change, and I've always just had a passion in working in the nonprofit field. And my wonderful mentor, Laura Farnsworth at Safe Homes, where I was an adult advisor.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I love Laura.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She knew that I was looking for a pace of change and I was looking for work that was going to speak to my passion.
Yep.
And she heard about this agency that was hiring for this volunteer and hotline coordinator position. And so I interviewed and I got the job and I love it. And one of my favorite things, and I say this all the time, is there is never a day that I wake up and I dread going to work. I absolutely, and to never have had that feeling before is just
Because
crazy.
you're living your passion and you're helping so many, correct?
Exactly.
And did you guys come on board at the same time, or
No, she was my mentor.
oh really?
Brianna started as my intern, And she was my intern for about a year.
Yes.
And then one of the great things about our agency is that we're constantly looking for ways to improve. So Brianna had noticed that there was, we didn't have any specialized services for survivors who identified as being part of the LGBT community.
Really? Oh my,
yes.
bravo to you, baby.
And, but
Oh
we
my
had
God.
we had tons of clients that were coming in that did identify as LGBT.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that we were hitting all the different specialized groups and things like that. So we were able to get funding and we're able to create an LGBTQ position.
And that's where you came in.
Yep, that's where I came in. As soon as it got announced, she was like, you're putting in your application, right? And I was like, oh, but, of course I get a little bit shy. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And then she's just like, you're putting in your application. You have this. That's why you're nervous.
And you do have this. Yeah,
I do. I've been employed for about 6 months now with the organization. And just like Quiana, there's never a day where I wake up and I'm just like, do I really want to go to work today?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even a morning person. I may lay in bed like I don't want to get out of bed, but it's never like I don't want to go to work.
Right.
It's an amazing feeling.
Because somebody needs you, and it's good to be needed. And these are extreme circumstances. So you were really making a difference. My God.
Yes.
Speaking about making a difference, you just started something called Shade.
Yes. So once again, with my keen eye, I was noticing that certain...
With my keen eye.
Yes. Certain people in our community, namely the people of color, were feeling as though they were not as wholesomely welcomed in our community. And we all know that there is no community without unity. And so starting that, I brought up a people of color mixer as an idea for Worcester Pride.
Yeah.
And we debuted it last Pride at Pop-Up, and it was an amazing turnout. We had about 50 people of all different types.
That's great.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
They came in and they loved it, so we made it our own subcommittee.
Now, I am one of those people who have never been to Worcester Pop-Up. Shame on me, I know, but I hear great things about it and everything.
It's an amazing space.
Right. So 50 people for your first event?
Yes.
Do you know how huge that is?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was expecting 25. I'm like, if I get 25, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And then at the final tally, it was 50 in and out,
Oh,
and I'm just like,
bravo to you.
oh my goodness.
That's amazing. So again, you found a need, and you filled it.
I did.
Wow.
But not without a great team.
Right. That's true. Who's your team? Let's give them a shout out.
Shout out to Worcester Pride for one, for being so wholesomely accepting of the idea of giving people of color their own space, and just shout out to the individual members who helped me one-on-one with making this a thing, including Harley Quinn for designing the logo, which will be debuted soon.
Harley Quinn, who I just met for the first time at a drag brunch fundraiser, who just absolutely killed it, and I immediately friended her on Facebook because I'm like, I need to know this person. Yeah. We have to wrap this up, unfortunately, but I want to get to Pathways for Change. I want websites, I want phone numbers, I want emails. Go ahead.
So all of our information can be found at our website, which is pathwaysforchange.help. We have a 24-hour hotline that anybody can call. And again, you can be a survivor, you can be what we call a significant other, so anybody in a survivor's life impacted by the assault. All of our services are free and confidential, and we can really assist with anything. And if we can't, then we can certainly refer you to the appropriate place to get the right supports.
And you now have an LGBTQ section
Yes.
too,
We do, yes.
which is amazing, which is absolutely incredible.
Absolutely, yes, because
Right.
so many times people forget that sexual assault impacts everybody. It's not
It does.
discriminatory,
It
and
does.
so when
Yeah.
people look at the LGBT community, they just assume that oh, it's not really happening, or things like that,
Right.
or people in that community feel like they can't get the right supports.
And
All right,
if
thank
I
you
may,
so
one
much.
more thing, my apologies. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and our colors are teal and navy blue. So,
And you're
in
giving me a little
honor of
ribbon?
it, yes,
Thank you
I
very
am.
much.
Thank you
I'll
very
put this
much.
on after the break. We'll be right back with more New England Pride TV right after this.
Hey, it's me, Amy T, with another segment of Experimental Comedy Therapy. This month, I spoke with comedian and speaker and author of My Fair Junkie, a memoir of getting dirty and staying clean, Amy Dresner. My women's group at work read the book. It was absolutely hilarious and raw, and she gave us an opportunity to speak with her after we were done.
It was not therapeutic. It was eye-opening in terms of seeing my story with time sober, without the denial and excuses that I had when I was engaging in that behavior. Kind of like nothing else could happen. Like, she's been in 6 rehabs, she's been in 4 psych wards, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's a junkie, like, really what's left? And I was like, oh, fine, that's fantastic. But, I mean, it's not funny. I mean, to be a perpetrator of domestic violence, I mean, to be arrested for felony domestic violence with a deadly weapon, like, as a Jewish girl from Beverly Hills, sucks. I mean, that was like...
Did you say that was your rock bottom?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Being on Medi-Cal disability, living in sober living for 2.5 years, in my 40s, having a sex addiction, yeah. With, like, absolutely no money, yeah. Definitely my rock bottom. Yeah, I mean, even my epilepsy didn't stop me. I mean, I got epilepsy from crystal meth, and then, like, 8 years later, I'm shooting cocaine. I'm like, whatever, we'll wear a helmet. You know? Like, no, I was not the person people thought was going to get it. I mean, like, even the guy at treatment, head of treatment, was like, even my therapist were like, she just got 6 years? Like, what the fuck? Like, I was certainly the black horse. You know, I was the one that people were just like, honestly, when I wrote the book, I was just like, I'm going to tell my truth. It's going to piss some people off. Some people are going to be like, thank you, you know? And then through the book, I've sort of, it's become my purpose, you know, to kind of like break shame and break stigma and be a woman who talks about stuff that you don't really talk about. Like, and this is something I say all the time, we cannot break the stigma of addiction until we break the stigma of recovery, because I think humor is the way to kill shame. I think it's great I think addiction's totally serious, and it's almost killed me multiple times, but I think that if we don't laugh at what we've done, the shame is just overwhelming, you know? But it's like, do I regret, you know, being a drug addict? No. And I own it. I think that's really what's important, you know? I think the way out is people owning it, coming out in recovery, and like people having hope that people call it. Like, however you get sober, it's awesome. It's not magic, you know. Although magical things have happened in my sobriety, it's touched a lot of people, and I've gotten amazing messages, and that's been the best part, like changing people's lives. That's worth more than money. And now it's like in development for a TV series, so it's like it really is the best thing that ever happened to me. Besides the fact that it just kind of like, you know, knocked all the entitlement out of me and sort of like changed my perspective on everything.
I want to thank Amy for taking the time to speaking with us. Check out her book on Amazon, and she couldn't say too much, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing her on TV soon. Until next time, be responsible for the energy you bring into this world. Practice compassion and tolerance. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of New England Pride TV. We always learn so much on each and every show. I mean, I learn a lot. Hopefully you learn a lot. I'd like to thank our guest, Joe Sandagato, Quiana Langley-Carr, Brianna Brewer. They've got some great missions going, and if you want to, feel free to reach out to them. Their information was put up under their interviews, so you can reach out to them whenever you'd like. I'd also like to thank you, our viewers, our fans, our friends. The New England Pride TV Facebook page is just such a wonderful, there's an outreach and support that you're showing us, because Facebook told me last month that over 655,000 of you were active on the page. That's incredible. So if you haven't gone to the New England Pride Facebook page yet, please do, because there are so many events we post. There's wonderful events coming up in all different areas, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Providence, Boston, Worcester, Springfield. If you have an event you'd like us to share, you can reach out to us on the New England Pride TV Facebook page. And in closing, I'd like to say what we always do. Please don't be afraid to shine your light, because you might be lighting the way for someone in need. Until next time, thanks for watching New England Pride TV.
Yeah. Tune in, show us you got New England Pride. Show us you've got New England Pride. New England Pride.